Welcome to the Northwest Sports Fanatics YouTube channel. I am your host, Orion. I got a great show for you here today between the Seattle Mariners and the Athletics. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 6 minutes, so let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Tuesday, everyone. On the left, up-and-coming star, second baseman, Cole Clutch Young. And on the right, center fielder for the A's, Lawrence Butler. Now let's get into the starting lineup here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners at shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, playing center field, it's J-Rod Julio Rodriguez. Batting third, playing left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Batting fifth, DHing tonight in the 5-hole, Rob Refsnyder. Batting sixth, catching today for Seattle, Mitch Garver. Batting seventh, playing second base, Cole Clutch Young. Batting eighth, playing right field, Victor Robles. And batting ninth, playing third base, Colt Emerson. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 3-2 record and ERA of 3.07, it is Emerson Hancock. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the home Athletics. Leading off for the Athletics in right field, Carlos Cortez. Batting second, playing first base, Nick Kurtz. Batting third, catching tonight for the A's, Shea Langeliers. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, DHing for the Athletics, Brent Brooker. Batting fifth, playing left field, Tyler Soderstrom. Batting sixth, playing second base, the former Met, Jeff McNeil. Batting seventh, playing third base, Zach Geloff. Batting eighth, playing center field, Lawrence Butler. And batting ninth, playing shortstop, Darul Hernandez. And making his MLB debut, it is Gage Jump. Now, we were supposed to go against a righty, and we were going to have Luke and Dom in the lineup today, but at the very last minute, they decided to call up Jump, and they're going to have Severino, the righty, pitch tomorrow against Logan Gilbert. So we'll see how this goes. Obviously, having Refsnyder in the lineup, not really ideal, but again, we'll see what we can do, and then, maybe if they end up switching pitchers at some point, we can get Luke Raley to take that spot for DH, with at least a couple late at-bats. Obviously, last night was fantastic. We scored the most runs in one inning since going back to last season, and we ended up getting 6 in one single half inning, which was fantastic. Not something that's probably going to happen with us often, but again, definitely was exciting, and hopefully we'll be able to continue our success. Winning yesterday 9-2, Riz loved it, and we did too here as well. 50th anniversary for the Seattle Mariners, 40-plus years on the radio. He is retiring after this season, so we want to make sure that he goes out with a bang. The icon, the legend, we dedicate every stream this year to this guy right here on the screen, Rick Riz. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. And a quick injury update. Obviously, with no Cal Raleigh and Brandon Donovan, it has been tough. We've been trying to just stay afloat, but we do get Gabe Spire back. So we know that Gabe has been kind of unreliable, but hopefully it'll at least give us someone that at times can be electric. and at other times will let us down with RBIs and home runs, but at least we get another guy back from the injury report. Cal Raleigh right now with the updated injury list, he's on the same pace as Brandon Donovan around June 5th, but they haven't really set it in stone just yet. And again, Mastroboni could be back around that time as well as Carlos Vargas. So again, if we can get Vargas, Mastroboni, Cal, and Donnie all back around the same time, then we will be ultimately almost fully healthy. But again, we just don't know if there's going to be any setbacks, and we don't want guys to come back too soon. Come back too soon from an injury like right side soreness with Cal, or any type of issue with Donnie, with the hips or the legs, you want to make sure that they come back at the appropriate time. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes, 100 on that dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. We are 10 subs away from 24,100. All day in the building. What's good? Congratulations on the new mod status. Power Code in the building. What's good? Dark Passenger in the building. What's good? Larry in the building. Tank in the building. Let's get it, baby. And again, since we are going against a lefty, Engage Jump making his MLB debut, initially they were going to have Luke and Dom in the lineup, but you know how Dan Wilson, typically operates. Usually how, Dan operates, he's not playing Luke Raley every day. And it's just a damn shame, for a guy that's got the most home runs and the most RBIs on the team. Stop treating him like a scrub. You need to start treating him the same way you treat Julio and Randy and Naylor. And again, just imagine if Luke played every day. Hell, he might be at 20 home runs or close to that if he played every day. And again, he's doing great for us. But, crazy that he's got 11 home runs and might end up hitting 30 to 40 by being a part-time player. Imagine if you actually let him play every day. He could end up hitting maybe somewhere between, 40 and 50, a little bit more, but we'll see. First pitch there from Jump to JP Crawford. 0-1 count with the big swing and a miss. One pitch, fouled back behind the plate there by JP Crawford. Has had an issue with errors, obviously lately, including another one last night, but did hit a home run to, I guess, kind of make up for it, but definitely a concern. Hopefully he doesn't go sidearm really that much on defense. Just throw traditional, over the shoulder. And again, you don't need to get fancy with it because that sidearm approach is definitely not working. No balls and 2 strikes from Jump to Crawford. 0-2 pitch. And that is strike 3. I didn't know if he got a little bit of a piece. It looks like he does not. And that is 1 away. First punch out, and Gage Jump's MLB debut in his career here tonight. And that is 1 up and 1 down. Really was hoping that we were going to get Severino today, but a righty. But again, it is what it is. We'll have to do our best, even with a guy making his MLB debut. And, hopefully they bring in a righty at some point. Next up in the 2-hole, Julio Rodriguez. First pitch from Jump to Julio, takes a strike looking right down the middle. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Gage Jump. Cool name, and a highly touted prospect for the A's, and definitely has some, high-end velocity. We'll see if he can keep the location up all game. 0-1 pitch, Julio, shallow center field. Lawrence Butler is there, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Good start here for Gage Jump. Next up for the Seattle Mariners in the 3-hole tonight, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And with one more hit, he'll be above 300. We got a few other guys that are getting a little bit closer to that number, but Randy has been the most consistent player that hasn't gotten hurt to be at that 300 number more times than not. And again, hopefully we'll get a few of the teammates to get caught up to Randy as well. Hawks in the building. What's good? Rayleigh does struggle against lefties, but again, it's just the fact that we spent money, on Ref Snyder and we ended up having Connor Joe, sent him to AAA. So we got rid of one weak link, but again, it just kind of makes you wonder with certain guys, that are protected like Julio and obviously Naylor and Randy, they get treated a certain way. And yeah, Luke Rayleigh might have been a rotational player in years past, but I think that this year, he's proven that he's earned, to start every game, and again, I'm just kind of confused where a guy is number 1 in home runs, number 1 in RBIs. No other team in baseball would be platooning a number 1 in home run and RBIs besides the Mariners, it feels like, but that's where we are. Big swing and a miss there by Randy. 2-1 pitch. And that ends up going behind the plate foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. But again, Randy, is hitting better, than Refsnyder. And again, regardless if he's good or bad, I think that us fans would rather have Luke in the lineup. I don't care if Luke ends up going against a lefty, and if he ends up going 0 for 4, 0 for 5, so be it. And again, if you want to have him at DH or, in right field, depending on if you're having Robles play or whatnot. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to be able to figure it out. But, Luke should be playing every day, either in right field or DHing. There's nothing there's no other, really reasoning around it. But hopefully we'll be able to get at least a couple at-bats, out of him before the game is up. But, Refsnyder used to be good, obviously on the Red Sox, smashing, against lefties. But as we have seen this year, started off the year 0 for 20-ish, and then started to make a few plays for us, a random RBI, a occasional once in a blue moon home run or a, single or a walk, but, definitely has not really panned out for us, so far in the first third of the season. And I don't know if he really ever will. Let's go to the bottom of the first inning and see who's up next here for the A's. Next up for the A's, leadoff hitter, right fielder, Carlos Cortez. Next up in the 2-hole, first baseman, Nick Kurtz. And batting third, the best catcher in the game, in the American League for sure, Shea Langoliers. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 3-2 record, ERA of 3.07, probably the most improved pitcher as far as the starting, rotation from last year to this year. It's our guy, Emerson Hancock. And hopefully we'll be able to get some run support for M. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Yeah, Joe is in AAA. I wish we could send Refsnyder there as well, but, gained a sub since the last commercial break. Appreciate you. 9 subs to go to 24,100. Yeah, we don't got to worry about Connor Joe anymore. He's in AAA, there for the Tacoma Rainiers and whatnot, and he'll only get called up if there's an injury and whatnot. But again, once Donnie comes back, and he's at third, they can end up moving JP to the bench and having Emerson at short with Cole Young at second, and then having Cal back at that normal catching position. And I think once that really happens, we'll start to take off. Even if it's a little bit of a slow start for Donnie and Cal when they first come back, it'll definitely give the team an emotional lift that they'll need. First pitch popped up. JP Crawford is there. Thankfully, he doesn't make an error or drop that ball. And sun is out there in Sacramento. I see a few of the Mariner players with no sunglasses on. Hopefully that doesn't become an issue. 1 up and 1 down. Good start here for Emerson Hancock. Rebecca in the building. How are you? Shout out to our female audience like Rebecca, as well as everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. Appreciate you very, very much. Next up is Nick Kurtz. First pitch to Kurtz. Right down the middle, 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 0-1 count. And again, anytime you can end up making history where you can get on base, in a certain amount of games in a row, like you've seen with Nick Kurtz, again, for longest streaks to get on base, as you can see, Kurtz is really making a name for himself, number 2 on the list. And we'll see if he can catch up to Mark McGuire. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. Just missing maybe by a half inch. 1 ball and 1 strike to Nick Kurtz. 1-1 pitch, fouled off and out of play with a cutter, 85 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Hancock to Kurtz. Angry in the building. What's good? Yeah, but unfortunately, we're stuck with Dan, until the foreseeable future. So, and it's not like Scott Service would be doing anything different. He pretty much manages the same way as Dan and a lot of other managers in the big leagues. So, 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Nick Kurtz. And that is 2 up and 2 down. Good start here for Emerson Hancock. Next up, the best catcher in the game so far in 2026 in the 3-hole, Shea Langoliers. First pitch to Langoliers is high and away, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch in there for a strike. Really like Drake Baldwin's game this year for the Braves as well. One of the best catchers in the National League. But Langoliers has really stepped up his power, his batting average, his RBIs. Really a big hitter, considering Jacob Wilson has been hurt for a little bit and has definitely stepped up, leading the team with 13 home runs. Kurtz, number 2 with 8. Rooker, number 3 with 7. 1-1 pitch, low and away. Sweeper by Hancock, missing badly. 75 miles an hour, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Shea Langoliers. 2-1 pitch. That's in the zone, but is this going to be challenged or not? This looks like it is not. Looks like if they did challenge this could be overturned, but looks like no ABS. 3 balls and 1 strike to Shea Langoliers. 3-1 pitch, little dribbler towards third base and foul. My passion for the Mariners started off at a very, very young age. I started, watching sports and keeping up with, a lot of things that little kids do, at a young age, around 3, 4, or 5 years old. And again, I have one single moment, that really changed me forever. And I'll show you here in just a moment. Pitch fouled off there by Langoliers, right down the middle with the sinker. 3-2 pitch, popped up, and going into right field, out of play. But I've mentioned it before. But again, when you end up, being 7 years old and you're in first grade and you meet Ken Griffey Jr., knowing that he'll more than likely be a Hall of Fame player and your favorite player forever, that definitely was a moment that changed my life forever. And I was blessed not only to meet Ken Griffey Jr. in his rookie year and get a photo and his autograph and a handshake. 3-2 pitch, popped up, Langoliers. It's in shallow center field. Julio is there in the no-fly zone, and that is 3 up and 3 down. But Ken Griffey Sr. was there as well, so I got a photo, and got to talk with him as well. And honestly, I remember if it was yesterday, and this was back when I was in first grade, and that definitely took my fandom. I was already a fan of the Mariners prior to meeting Griffey. I was already kind of following the team with my dad and, buying the baseball cards, and, we're reading about him. Obviously in the farm system, and knowing that, hey, this is going to be the guy that kind of puts the Mariners, on the map. And again, ever since, that particular day, and even before that day, but that was the day that it was, I have 2 heroes in my life, Ken Griffey Jr. and my dad. And, once you end up meeting a legend and an icon like Griffey, at a young age like that, and, getting the autograph and the photo and the handshake and, having a little combo, it definitely was surreal. But again, still to this day, my favorite player, and I probably have the most memorabilia of Ken Griffey Jr. out of any single player in my collection for, obvious reasons. Now let's go to the top of the second inning and see who's up next here for the Seattle Mariners. Let's see if we can end up getting off to an early lead like we ended up doing yesterday. Leading off for the Mariners here in the top of the second inning in the 4-hole, first baseman Josh Naylor. Let's go Nails. Batting second in the 5-hole, DHing Rob Refsnyder. Just make it Luke Rayleigh, damn it. And batting third in the 6-hole, catching today for Seattle, Mitch Garver. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Yeah, I got really blessed. I met Ken Griffey Jr. when I was 7, and then I ended up meeting my dad's hero, Sandy Koufax, when I was 10. My dad grew up in Hawaii and LA and grew up watching Koufax and Drysdale. So when you end up meeting 2 Hall of Famers, arguably the best left-handed hitter that didn't cheat, and one of the best left-handed pitchers ever, besides Steve Carlton and Randy Johnson, obviously we know people are very aware on how great Koufax was. But, I haven't met a lot of famous people, in my life, but meeting those two people by the time I was 10, it really did shape me, to be a fanatic. And if I didn't meet Ken Griffey Jr. when I was 7 and Koufax when I was 10, who knows? Maybe I'm not here today doing sports. Maybe I'm doing something else. Maybe I'm streaming video games or, something of that nature. 0-1 pitch and a little dribbler out into left field, and Josh Naylor continues to stay hot. There we go. Nice job there by Nails. Josh Naylor with a little single there, line drive into left. Great job pulling that baseball, Nails. Great balance with that swing as well. Four-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. Beautiful single to left. Next up in the 5-hole, DHing Rob Refsnyder. And sometimes you just got to, a pivot and adjust and be able to, make, a critical decision, but it just seems like, as long as Scott Service and Dan Wilson are running the team, it just seems like we're going to be running splits until we end up getting a manager that decides not to. First pitch from jump to Refsnyder, takes a strike looking low and at the knees, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, change up low and away, 88 miles an hour there by Rob Refsnyder. No balls and 2 strikes from jump to Ref. And again, if we're going to get 3 swings and 3 misses, I'd rather have it be Luke Raley than Refsnyder. 0-2 pitch. Throw to first. Kurtz. Tag up on Naylor, and he is safe. Nobody's going to want Ref. Let's be real. I mean, if we don't want him, why the hell would anyone else? If he, that one maybe thing that he's got going for him, and there it is, a once in a while single, and Refsnyder makes, the Mariner fan base a little happy. Here early on, we don't have a whole lot of confidence in Refsnyder, but he's trying to show that every once in a while, hey, I am a liability. I'm probably one of the worst guys on the team right now, but I'm going to try my best. And a nice single into right by Rob Refsnyder. Good job. I mean, if we can get 1 hit out of Refsnyder, and then maybe a walk, or even, 2 hits, depending on if he gets 4 or 5 at-bats, that's what you shoot for, but you normally don't get it. Next up is Mitch Garver. Let's see if we can make it 3 for 3 with 3 consecutive hits in a row. Garver, another guy, as the backup catcher. You're really more in there for defense and just catching purposes rather than being a hitter. But, like I said, once in a blue moon, Garver will be a hero like he was a few games ago, getting a 2-run jack and helping us win 2-0. But again, the hits, RBIs, and home runs are kind of far and few between. But again, we have to, deal with Garver and Pareda until we get Cal Raleigh back, and then hope Cal can start hitting. First pitch takes a strike looking down the middle, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mitch Garver. 1-1 pitch from jump, low and away. Change up missing, 90 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike to Mitch Garver. Come on, Mitch. Two-one pitch from jump, strike right down the middle, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes from jump to Garver. Daniel in the building, what's good? Two-two pitch, and Garver fouls it into right field, out of play. But you also, if you look at a lot of other teams that are out there, they don't have as much talent as the Mariners typically do. I mean, obviously we know the Guardians are playing well. The Rays are amazing this year. The Yankees are playing well. But if you look at a lot of teams, not just in the American League, but if you compare our roster, on the National League side, we stack up very well. And there we go. Mitch Garver with a line drive going all the way into left. Run, baby, run. And Naylor's coming home. Refsnyder, come home, baby, come home. And Refsnyder gets there as well. 2-0 Mariners. And then, again, something that we typically don't do often, get 3 hits in a row at any point in the game, right? And again, to be able to do it early, to be able to start off with a 2-0 lead, especially when we were going to have Severino, a right-handed pitcher, to go against, that was huge. And again, to get 3 hits in a row, Naylor, that's not surprising. Refsnyder, Garver, a little bit. And again, beautifully hit ball right all the way to left field. It does go underneath the mat there, but I don't think that really should make a difference there. And that's going to end up being a 2 RBI double by Mitch Garver. Let's go, baby. Tridents up. And it looks like they are going to review this. So they may have Refsnyder back at third base based on what they see here. But, I mean, it was underneath the mat, but it wasn't stuck. I mean, he picked it up, So it's one thing when it's jammed underneath where you can't get to it, but it was just, rolled into the bottom of the mat, and he easily grabbed it. So, again, I assume that it'll be 1-0, and they'll have Refsnyder go back to third. But I'm hoping that they'll just say, let's just keep it as is. But as you can see the replay here, it goes under the C, and it's right there. It's half of the ball is sticking out. I'm not really sure if that, really deserves to, get overturned and have Refsnyder stay at third instead of coming home. But we will see here in a moment. Tridents up. Let's go, Ems. The ball, was not stuck, and obviously if it was stuck, then Refsnyder would have to stay at third, and then it's only 1-0. And again, it wasn't. So I think we should, have this be 2-0, but again, we'll see what the ABS and with all of the replay officials and individuals that are, in this room, what they decide here. Chris in the building. What's good? Well, you also have to realize, Chris, coming to Seattle rather than being on Texas is different. Seattle is the hardest hitting ballpark out of any ballpark in MLB. So a lot of people that come to Seattle, they struggle. It's not easy to hit. And then obviously going on the road, it's a little bit of a different story. And now the play is overturned. They're going to give the call to the A's here. And so now we have runners at second and third with no outs, but we have a 1-0 lead. That's a damn shame that, that happened. But, you're not going to get every call to go your way, I guess. But again, we should hopefully still be able to bring him home. And, hopefully we end up having a 3-0 lead before this inning is over. At least bare minimum 2, but I'm hoping 3, 4, or 5 if we can get it. Next up is Cole Young. First pitch to Young, pops it behind the plate and foul, 0-1 count. And we usually don't get 4 hits in a row that often, but we did score the most runs that we've had in a single inning going back to last year in yesterday's game. So we're off to a good start here, even though we're going against a lefty making his MLB debut. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Cole Clutch Young. No balls and 2 strikes from jump to Young. Makes you kind of wonder if, if we actually had a manager that was smart, you may not maybe right here, but at some point, dropping a bunt down, and being able to, see what happens. A lot of, teams aren't really prepared for bunting defense, and it could definitely go our way. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from jump to Young. But I love small ball. I love all the little intricacies of the game, double plays, triple plays, bunting, just things that are a little bit underappreciated in baseball. 1-2 pitch. And Young hits this one into shallow center field, and this should be deep enough for the runner to tag up. Run, Refsnyder. And Refsnyder comes home, and now it is 2-0 Mariners. Let's go. Should have already been 2-0, but again, beggars can't be choosers, right? We got to just take it the way that, it comes down. And as long as, we don't end up having something terrible happen where we don't get any runs, it definitely was deep enough. Nice job there. Refsnyder scoring from third, 2-0, Seattle. Awesome. Next up in the 8-hole, Victor Robles. Tridents up. Let's go, Ems. First pitch to Victor. Big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. Great to see Victor Robles back, and again, we know he hasn't really been the same hitter, since he got injured last season. But, if he didn't get hurt, he probably would have been our leadoff hitter for the whole year. and again, was showing a little bit of promise, can make some diving plays in right field. And again, before the injury in San Francisco, running into the netting in the wall where he ended up putting his arm and shoulder, it started to look like, he could end up potentially being a, 280 to 300 hitter and really help us out and give us an upgrade from JP Crawford. But unfortunately, the injury happened, then had another minor one, obviously here this season. But hopefully the injury bug is done for Victor. I like his vibes, like Eugenio Suarez, always positive, and that's definitely what we need. Pitch fouled off there by Victor Robles. 0-2 count. Low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Victor Robles. 1-2 pitch from jump. And a line drive that ends up going through. Hell yeah, go, baby, go. And the Mariners are on fire, baby. Let's go. So many hits that we're able to get here early on. On jump, making his MLB debut. They thought they were pulling a fast one because he's a lefty. We were scheduled to face Severino, a righty, but they pushed him to tomorrow against Logan Gilbert. And normally against lefties, regardless if they're making an MLB debut or they've been in the league for 10 years, and regardless if their win-loss record is good or bad, or ERA is low or high, we usually suck against lefties. I mean, that's just, the bottom line. But today, we're finding a way to get it done. And again, when you can start to see lower end guys get on base, Ref Snyder, Garver, Robles, usually the guys that are liabilities to this team, and they're getting hits, that's when you know things are going really fucking good for Seattle. Garver to third, Robles on an infield single to the shortstop at first, and now we got Colt Emerson in the box. Let's see if Colt can have a little bit of magic here. And then on deck will be JP Crawford, then Julio Rodriguez. And I would love for us to get to Julio or Randy in this inning. And if that happens, we might be able to have a 4-5-6-0 lead early. First pitch to Colt Emerson with the slider, low and at the knees, 86 miles an hour, 1-0 count. And hopefully we have no double plays. Hopefully we can just continue the inning here. Runners at first and third with 1 out. 1-0 pitch from jump to Emerson. Big swing and a miss with the slider outside of the zone. 87 miles an hour, 1 ball and 1 strike from Gage Jump, cool name, to Colt Emerson, even cooler. Becky in the building, how are you? Mike in the building, what's good? 1-1 pitch, and Emerson pops it up and out of play. Sweeper, 83 miles an hour, 1 ball and 2 strikes from jump to Emerson. And I like the mindset that we're playing the A's as they are the number 1 team in our division, not in last place. And again, the mindset, just like when we play the Angels and the Royals, sometimes when you play down to the competition, things don't go well for the Mariners, but I really feel that we're treating the A's as a threat, and they are, just like the Rangers, even though they got a no-hitter on them combined by the Astros yesterday. So should be a 3-team race, with the Astros and Angels on the back end, and the A's, Mariners, and Rangers battling for 2 spots. 2-2 pitch from jump to Emerson, low and away. Good eye there by Colt. Count now is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes from jump to Emerson. Let them know all day. Sean in the building. What's good? Trident's up. Let's go M's. 3-2 pitch. Low and away. Great at bat there. The patience for the rookie, to come up, like this, at 20 years old is so impressive. Great defender, good hitter, very mature. Again, Cole and Colt, I've been dreaming of, this moment of having them both on the roster playing, and I'm so glad that they're there. He forces the walk, and now we got JP Crawford up next. Let's go, JP. JP ends up hitting a grand slam here. We're up 6-0, and we're definitely not looking back. But we'll take even an RBI single or an RBI double. We just wanted this inning to keep going. 0 for 1 with a K for JP. Had that bad error with the sidearm throw to Naylor yesterday, which has been pretty frequent, but he did hit a home run yesterday to kind of make up for it. But the defensive issue for JP is concerning. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike low and at the knees on the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike to JP Crawford. But once Donovan comes back, JP will be a bench player because they're going to move Colt to short. I would assume that would be the smart thing to do. And then just have JP DH or fill in as a backup, every once in a while. And that would be like the more appropriate, platoon guy rather than Luke Rayleigh, someone that could actually come in for someone that's injured, someone that could come in, as a DH. once in a while, even though he's not really the greatest hitter himself, closer to 200 than 300, but I think we would rather have JP maybe rather than some of the others. 2-1 pitch, hard hit ball, shallow right field. It's caught. Cortez is there. Garver tags up from third and scores. And now it's 3-0 Mariners. Let's fucking go. Let's go, baby. Nice job there by JP Crawford hitting it deep enough. And we didn't get a double play. You remember like how, usually things go for us. Sometimes we're a little unlucky, but today, we're pouring it on just like we did yesterday. And I'm here for it. Rick Riz, he loves it. Let's go. Next up is Julio Rodriguez, who's had an amazing first half for the first time in his career. First pitch, fouled back to the Vegas sign. 0-1 count, even though they are in Sacramento. Top of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. And again, our fan base has, desperately been wanting games like this. It's like, the injuries haven't helped, with Cal and Donnie. And we got Gabe back today, as well as poor play from Castillo and, Mooney and a few others. But again, this is the type of shit that we expect, based on how good we were last year and the talent on this roster. Things have gone a little sideways. But again, the whole American League is terrible besides like 3 teams. So we're still, in a great position to win the division or get a wild card. There's no doubt about that. 0-1 pitch to Julio, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike as that 4-seam fastball gets away from jump. And, he's got a lot of butterflies. This is his MLB debut. And they thought they were going to pull a fast one because they know the Mariners stink at lefties. But again, I guess when you're making your MLB debut as a lefty, you're nervous. And we're definitely taking advantage. No complaints here. 1-1 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. If Julio can get a single, double, or home run here, this would really put us in an amazing position for the rest of the game. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Little dribbler up the middle there by Julio. Throw to first. Run, Julio. Not in time. Would have liked to see Julio run full speed there instead of just kind of giving up. You just never know, on how the ball will be received at first base. But again, I guess everyone can't be Luke Rayleigh. But we do get 3 runs there in the second inning, so we can't complain about that after Julio ends up grounding out there, and that is out number 3. All right, let's go to the bottom of the second inning and see who's up next here for the Athletics. Next up for the A's in the 4-hole, DHing Brent Rooker. Batting second in the 5-hole, left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. And batting third in the 6-hole, second baseman Jeff McNeil. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Nine subs away from 24,100. We got 211 in the room. Let's see how close we are to 100 on the likes. We're at 50, halfway there. Reflect in the building. What's good? They definitely did get the jump on him early. How are you? Appreciate your support as always. Bottom of the second inning, 3-0 Seattle. Let's see if we can continue to get some good run support here for Emerson Hancock. Did see a few videos of Luis Castillo having a meltdown after getting pulled, and having to go to Bryce Miller, taking off his jacket and screaming and yelling and having kind of a verbal discussion, with Dan Wilson. But I mean, Luis should be smart enough to know that he's lucky that Dan actually is still allowing him to start, even if it's a platoon or a piggyback, because a lot of others, would have tried to cut him, send him to AAA if that was an option, or just send him into the pen and that's it. So, again, it was his best start of the year, but again, you would hope that a player of his caliber wouldn't have his best game 1/3 of the way of, through the season, so it's great to see Luis, do well, but again, it definitely is not ideal for Bryce Miller either, and, again, it worked out yesterday. The first time when Miller started and Castillo came in after, it didn't. But, we'll see how it progresses. I don't really like the whole piggyback concept, really, in my opinion, even though Castillo did well, yesterday. I think he should just be a pen guy. I would rather have Luke Raley play over Rob Refsnyder. It doesn't matter, if it's a lefty or righty. But, again, that's just the way that Dan is going to manage, I guess. Pitch is low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brent Rooker. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. High and inside. I like that. And a punch out there by Emerson Hancock. Nice job, M. Way to bring that electricity, Emerson Hancock. Down goes Rooker. And that is 1 away. Next up is Tyler Soderstrom. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Yeah, I did see the interview with Bryce afterwards, and, obviously he doesn't like it, and he's played well. He deserves to start. Castillo has had plenty of chances, and again, he ended up getting his first win, when he ended up coming in after not starting the game, and, little dribbler to third, Emerson to Naylor, and Soderstrom grounds out, and that is 2 away. But yeah, definitely a lot of emotions and a lot of tensions, and things have not gone, our way. But again, it's just a good problem to have a lot of talent, but again, you have to be able to make the right decision at the right time. And, hopefully we'll end up having Bryce, end up being the starter, and then they can just have Castillo pitch a half inning or 2. It's a business, and so you got to do what's best for business. And I think what's best for business is just having Castillo in the pen, and I think Dan is worried about hurting his feelings and whatnot, but, it is what it is. Lauren in the building. What's good? 1-0 pitch. Little line drive up the middle, right to J.P. Crawford, and I like seeing him be able to make defensive plays, and that is 3 up and 3 down. End of the second inning, 3-0 Mariners. I like that. And again, there's a lot of times where the Mariners will end up having a great inning, right? Where we score 1, 2, 3 runs, and then what happens? We end up having a meltdown, and then we give those runs right back. But thankfully, we didn't do it there. The defense stepped up, and Emerson Hancock looks good. And let's go to the top of the 3rd inning, and let's see if we can add on a few more. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a K, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Batting second, 1 for 1 with a run. First baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. And batting third, 1 for 1 with a run. DHing today, Rob Refsnyder. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Yeah. It's competitive, and I don't think anyone anticipated Emerson Hancock taking the big leap. He was a former first-round pick from Georgia, but, he was one of the guys that would come and fill in for guys that were injured like Gilbert and Kirby last year, right? And normally was not very good. A guy like Logan Evans was good at home, but then terrible on the road. And Hancock was a guy that normally was, giving up 3, 4, 5 runs and, wasn't good enough definitely to start. And, with the emergence of, him stepping up and then obviously Bryce Miller coming back, you would like to see Castillo be a little bit more mature. It's like you might be getting a lot of money and you might have been a certain type of player in the past, but Father Time is undefeated, and you've had plenty of time to kind of get things going. And normally he would be like a 500, type of pitcher, 2-2 record, 3-3, but his ERA normally isn't above 6. Maybe, in the 4s, or the high 3s, but, this is definitely not what we expect. And, we'll just see how long the piggyback platooning goes for hitters as well as pitchers. Randy pops up into shallow left field. Soderstrom is there on the first pitch, and that is 1 away. But also, too, with Castillo, if you want to go to his strengths, that's him pitching just for a half inning or 2, maybe 3 at the most. And again, if you end up pitching more, that's typically when he gives up those 4 to 8 runs, is after the third, inning of him pitching. So if you want to take that, possibility away to make him stronger for our team, putting him in the pen would be ideal. And again, we got Gabe Spire back today. Hell, I wouldn't even mind, calling up Cade Anderson and having him in the pen, to give us another lefty arm besides Ferrer and Spire that we might be able to trust, before eventually Cade will end up being a starter. But again, we have kind of a log jam with all of these pitchers, and it makes you kind of wonder also, if they will re-sign Logan Gilbert or not, or if they decide to move on, depending on the quality of pitchers that we have, not only in the farm with Ryan Sloan and Cade Anderson, but with the guys that we have now. And we have to assume, Castillo and JP more than likely will not be on the team next year. So that'll open up some spots, obviously for, Colt to play shortstop with no one, looking over his shoulder. And obviously another spot, in the pitching rotation. But we obviously have 5 if Hancock can, keep his spot. 2-0 pitch. Popped up. Shallow center field. Lawrence Butler is there. And that is 2 up and 2 down. I mean, we obviously they're not going to move Cade up, until we get to a point where, he's in AAA. Obviously he's not even there yet, but based on, what he's done up to this point, he's been one of the best, pitchers, in the minor leagues. And I'm definitely excited for the opportunity to see, him pitch. Next up is Rob Refsnyder. First pitch would jump to Refsnyder, curveball, 83 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle, out of play, four-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the third inning, 3-0 Seattle. And it also might be not just from Dan Wilson, making these decisions. It could be coming up from Dipoto and all the way up, through, the GM and the owner. Based on the salaries that we're paying, certain guys and whatnot, sometimes it's not just going to be the manager that has the final say. So, and let's look at the Supermo here on the 0-2 pitch that ends up, looks like hitting the bottom of the barrel of the bat, even though the ump ended up sending Refsnyder to first. Didn't look like it really hit him there. It looked like it hit the bat instead. And I think the Athletics will challenge, and they should get this overturned, you would think. Let's look at this replay again. Does it actually hit any part of his hand? See, that looks like it hits the bottom of the barrel, and we're not going to be cheap. Again, we want to make sure we're calling things the right way, right? And I don't understand why the Athletics aren't challenging that, because that didn't hit him. It didn't even catch a finger, it looked like. The pinky, it looked like it just hit the bottom of the barrel. But for whatever reason, the Athletics are slipping and decide not to challenge that play. And Refsnyder ends up going 2 for 2 with a single and a hit by pitch, even though that did not hit him. First pitch is high and away to Mitch Garver, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from jump to Garver. But even with all the struggles that we've had with our pitching staff and our bullpen, we're still top 10 in both. So even though when things look terrible for us, if you compare it to all the other teams in MLB, we're actually quite a bit better than a lot of other teams. It's just, losing games when, they could have been prevented. And then also the lack of hitting for the most part doesn't help, as well as, defensive errors. It's really hard to have good starting pitching, bullpen, pitching, hitting, and defense that go your way in a single game. At least for Seattle, it's been tough. And then on top of that, poor managing by Dan at times and injuries. So there's a number of things that have gone wrong. But we're definitely starting to turn it around, and I like what I see. 2-1 pitch. Low and at the knees. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike from jump to Garver. Come on, Mitch. 3-1 pitch. Hard hit ball. Shallow left field. And it drops. Yes. There we go. Missed time ball there in left field. And Mitch Garver. Way to be. Refsnyder hustling and getting to third base. And again, when you know that you're getting guys that are liabilities in the lineup, Refsnyder, Garver, Robles, and they have hits or they're getting on base, you know that the other guys will be able to do the same. Great job there by Mitch Garver. I like what I'm seeing, and let's see if Robles, after Cole Young, can continue his hot streak as well. Nice job there by Mitch. Runners now at first and third with 2 outs. Next up is Cole Clutch Young. Let's go, Cole. See if we can get an RBI here to make it 4-0 Mariners. And a little dribbler up the middle and throw to first to Kurtz, and we leave 2 stranded, and that is the end of the Mariners in the top of the third. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and right now Emerson has got a no-hitter, and let's see if we can continue that trend moving forward. Let's go to the bottom of the third inning, 3-0 Seattle. Nine subs away from 24,100. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Let's see how close we are to 100 on the likes. We're at 70. $30 more to get to 100. Now ESPN is doing that thing where they have the athletics that are due up, but they're only showing 2 names, not 3. So I don't know what's going on with ESPN. Last time that they did that, the batting order that they had on the screen was wrong. So I guess we'll just have to wait here momentarily and we'll figure out who's in the game at the moment. All right, next up for the Athletics in the 7-hole, third baseman Zach Geloff. Batting second in the 8-hole, center fielder Lawrence Butler. And batting third in the 9-hole, shortstop Darryl Hernandez. And again, I look forward to the battles that we're going to have with the Athletics and the Rangers, Astros, and Angels. Little dribbler, JP is there. Strong throw, not sidearm. And what do you know? It actually gets to Josh Naylor at the correct location in his glove. 1 up, 1 down. And again, I don't want to see JP doing a fucking sidearm throw for the rest of the year. And a majority of the errors are because he's throwing sidearm, I believe, unless he's got an injury, on top of it that he's hiding, or it's a little bit of mental, as well, knowing that Colt is going to take his job sooner than later. But good job there by JP. And that's what we expect out of you. You're not the greatest hitter. You're closer to 200 to 300, but at least once in a while, you'll get a home run like last night or a key RBI. But we really need the defense until Donnie comes back. First pitch to Butler. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss there by Lawrence Butler. No balls and 2 strikes from Emerson Hancock to Lawrence Butler. Trident's up. Let's go M's. 3-0 Mariners. Little dribbler. Emerson is there. Another strong throw to Naylor. And that is 2 up and 2 down. Down goes Geloff and Butler. And I like the way that the defense is playing here today, as well as the offense. Pitching as well. And hopefully the bullpen will be great too. Next up, shortstop in the 9-hole, Darryl Hernandez. And then after we end up having Logan Gilbert going against Severino tomorrow, we'll have Thursday off. And then we come back home for a series against the Diamondbacks and then the Mets. So based on how those teams have been playing, we should be able to hopefully beat them up and maybe get above 500 at that time. Fingers crossed. And then again, we hopefully will be getting back quite a few players around June 5th, possibly Brandon Donovan, Cal Raleigh, Miles Mastrobuoni, and Carlos Vargas, unless they end up having a setback. But it would be great to have those 4 guys available. And we just got back Gabe Spire today. 0-1 pitch, foul tip right in front of Mitch Garver and ends up tagging Hernandez, and he just stands there. He doesn't even move. And that is out number 3. I don't know what Hernandez was thinking, if he thought that was just a foul ball. But again, a cheap out, we'll take it. 3 up and 3 down. And let's go to the top of the 4th inning, and let's see if we can pour it on. We're loving it, baby. Let's go. Next up for the Mariners, 1-for-1 in the 8-hole, right fielder Victor Robles. Batting second, 0-for-0 with a base on ball, third baseman Colt Emerson. And batting third, 0-for-1 with an RBI and a K, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Tridents up, let's go M's. And this is like one of those rare instances, when we're doing the splits and not having Luke Raley and Dominic Canzone play, and we're actually getting some results out of it. Ref Snyder has gotten a single and a hit by pitch. Garver obviously has been productive as well. And, when you can get, a 2-for-2 day out of Garver with a run and an RBI, and then you can get Ref Snyder with a single and a walk, or a hit by pitch, and then Robles goes 1-for-1 with a single as well. The 3 worst guys in the lineup are carrying, the team, and that's a great sign. Not going to happen every game, but it's just nice to be able to see, when we, see Dan making these moves, and more times than not, it doesn't work. And we're like, give us Luke. He's leading the team in home runs and RBIs. Don't treat him like a scrub. We don't got to worry about Connor Joe anymore. But again, I'm really happy that, it's working. And again, Robles is an upgrade, to Connor Joe and like a Ref Snyder. So again, I don't mind having Robles out there. He's a pretty good defender, in right field. He's just coming back from the injury. But again, if you have Robles in right field, you could have Luke Raley at DH. But again, I really like having Luke in right field, and I think he definitely plays better, when he's out there playing defense as well. So, but with all that being said, 3-0 Mariners, I think we can stand up and cheer for that. First pitch from jump to Robles. Shows bunt, pulls back with the curveball, high and away, 1-0 count. Pitch, takes a strike looking low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Victor Robles. Tridents up, let's go M's. Well, especially since Kurtz is approaching, 50. He's getting closer to that number. Consecutive times to get on base, but we will see if Kurtz will end up doing it today, or if that streak will end. 1-1 pitch. Low and at the knees, change up missing, 2 balls and 1 strike from jump to Robles. 2-1 pitch, low and away. Good eye there by Victor. Count now is full, 3 balls and 1 strike to Victor Robles. Three 1 pitch from jump. And Robles with a hard hit ball into left field. Look at this, all the way back to the wall. And Victor is going for 2. Run, Victor! And Victor Robles is safe at second base. Here we go. I mean, when's the last time that we've seen Rob Refsnyder, Victor Robles, and Mitch Garver all go 2 for 2? This is like the first time. Obviously, we know Robles just came back, to the team for the very first time. But again, the best case scenario, it's like almost the sports gods letting us know, we know that you guys are mad. No Luke Raley, no Dominic Canzone every day. But, glad to be able to see guys that are normally a little bit of a liability step up and, get some big hits for the Mariners. And hopefully that'll rub off on some of the other players as well. Great job there by Victor Robles. Now he's at second base in scoring position for Colt Emerson. First pitch is low and away, four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, 1-0 count. The first time that we've had all three of those guys in together, all with, 2 hits apiece, essentially, even though Ref Snyder did get hit by a pitch, but, ended up getting on base, essentially like a single. And, this might not be the last time it happens, but I'm very, very happy to see that, they are doing it together. And hopefully it will rub off on the rest. 1-0 pitch, another ball, low and away, slider 86 miles an hour. 2 balls and no strikes to Colt Emerson. 2-0 pitch, hits the corner, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Colt Emerson. Two 2-1 pitch, and that gets fouled back to the Budweiser sign. And again, if Victor didn't get hurt, I think that he would have been able to bat 280 to 300 for a majority of the rest of the season. But unfortunately, he made that diving attempt in San Francisco where he hit the netting and the wall, hurt his shoulder and arm, and it was out for a majority of the year. And when he came back at the end of the year, he really wasn't the same player as he was. But, before the injury, man, he was, the prototypical, leadoff hitter, an upgrade from JP as Emerson strikes out. And that is 1 away. But again, it definitely felt like it was a little bit better than JP. And then they had to, try Julio for a little bit. And then at the end of the year, it ended up being Randy, for the leadoff spot. But obviously, Donnie is the perfect leadoff hitter, but we just need him to be healthy. Next up is J.P. Crawford. And first pitch to Crawford, a little blooper, and it drops. Wow! Gets past Hernandez, and Victor Robles scampers to third. Here we go. We're getting extremely lucky on a few of these balls, but again, we'll take it. The Mariner Moose is out early, even when we're ahead. Let's go. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. And this is the type of, Seattle Mariner team that we all expected to see this year. Based on what we did last year, the most runs in a single inning going back to last night, 6. And now we have a 3-0 lead. J.P. Crawford with a little bloop single. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. And we're very home run dependent. And we can win with, hits and RBIs, but hopefully we'll get at least a couple home runs here today. One home run usually leads to another, and another. And we had 4 last night. And first pitch to Julio, and a nice dribbler into left that gets bobbled. Robles comes home, and just like that, 4-0 Mariners. Let's go. We're taking advantage of Gage Jump and his MLB debut. Let's fucking go. Nice job, Julio Rodriguez. RBI single, 4-0 Mariners. This is what I'm talking about, baby. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. We've been waiting a long time for, good performances in back-to-back games. And, we haven't really been able to do, 3 games in a row. It's usually 2, and then something bad happens, And again, we do got Logan Gilbert on the mound tomorrow. And, if he ends up pitching well and the bats come alive like this and we get a sweep on the A's, if we win this game, could be really big. We just need to, get as close to 500 as possible. And hopefully we can get over the hump and, get above 500, even though we may have to wait, until Donnie and Cal come back to do so. But again, I do like our chances against the Diamondbacks and the Mets at home after the Athletic Series is over, starting on Friday against the Arizona Diamondbacks. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss there by Randy. No balls and 2 strikes from Jump to Orosarena. 0-2 pitch, and Randy gets a hold of one. Line drive in the left. Go, baby, go. And now we got bases loaded with 1 out. We are rocking the rookie. And again, they thought that they were going to beat our ass today. They decided Severino was going to start a righty, and we would have had Luke Raley and Canzone in the lineup. But then a few hours before, first pitch, they decided to call up Gage Jump. And again, they thought, oh, he's a lefty. They're gonna beat us. And unfortunately for Gage Jump, we're rocking him here today. Nice job there by Randy Orosarena. We're taking advantage of the rookie here. And now we got bases loaded, 4-0 lead with 1 out. I love it. Next up is Josh Naylor. Let's see if we can get the mustard and the rye bread out for maybe a grand salami. 8-0 sounds kind of sexy, but again, we don't need to get greedy. We can even take an RBI single to make it 5-0, but hopefully with bases loaded in 1 out, that we can at least get minimum of 1 more if possible. But then if the, doors fly open and it ends up being 7-0, 8-0, I mean, that's not going to hurt my feelings. And I don't think it's going to hurt anybody's feelings in the room, especially Mariner fans. First pitch to Naylor, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. Come on, Nails. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Maybe the most enjoyable back-to-back that we've had in weeks. 0-1 pitch, little dribbler up the middle. Looks like it could be a double play. Throw to first, and got him. And unfortunately, Naylor hits into the double play. But at least we ended up scoring 1. And instead of it being 3-0, it's 4-0. But a little bit of a missed opportunity. Could have ended up being 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-0 if we were able to get a few more hits or that big grand salami. But again, we have to be patient. More runs are going to happen. 4 runs, 9 hits, no errors, and Hancock's got a no-hitter through the 4th. So again, we don't need to get too greedy. Things are going much better than expected. Pitching is great. Defense is great. Hitting is spectacular. And hopefully we can get as close to 10 before this one is over. Let's go. Fantastic job, especially by the lower end guys. Ref Snyder, Garver, Robles. Shout out to them. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Next up for the A's, 0-for-1, right fielder Carlos Cortez. Batting second, 0-for-1 with a K, first baseman Nick Kurtz. And batting third, 0-for-1, the best catcher in MLB in 2026, catcher Shea Langoliers. Nine subs away from 24,100. And looks like we gained another sub just moments ago. 8 subs to go to 24,100. Still looking for our first dono on our dono train. And it looks like we're at 88 likes. We're almost there. 12 more to get to 100. And shout out to Odin's Son for breaking our dono record a couple days ago. 1,500 is the new solo single dono record, and I don't know if that'll get beat anytime soon, but shout out to Odin's Son for showing that love and appreciation to myself and the NWSF. Much appreciated, as well as everyone else that has liked, sub, donated, commented, shared on this channel. Shout out to our female viewership, as well as all our old and new subs all across the world, in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, New Zealand, Australia, and beyond. I love you and I appreciate you. First pitch in there to Carlos Cortez, 0-1 count. That's crazy. Hancock is in the 4th inning and he's only at 28 pitches. Jump is at 73 to compare. So Hancock could essentially go the whole game. Could you imagine? Wouldn't that be wild if Hancock gets a no-hitter today? Not to say that he will, but imagine if he did and, we end up winning like 10-0 and he gets a no-hitter. How crazy would that be? 1-1 pitch. And Randy is there, and that is 1 away. Parker with a tour. Appreciate you. Parker's getting us started. $2 holla from Parker. Thank you so much. 98 to go on the dono goal. Cortez flies out to left. Good defense in the no-fly zone there by Randy Arosarena. Next up is Nick Kurtz, having a spectacular year. 284 average, 8 homers, 37 ribbies. First pitch to Kurtz. Fouls that one into left field, out of play. 0-1 count. Hancock, 3-2 record, ERA of 3.07. Started off electric. Had a few, starts that he was a little off, and then also hasn't really been able to get a lot of run support in his starts lately. But again, today, looking in a good position to be able to acquire the dub. Reflect with a 3-year. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts. Thank you so much. We're at 5, 95 to go. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees with a curveball. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 4th inning, 4-0 Mariners. Hancock with a no-hitter so far. And the Mariners offense has opened up and showed out today. 4 runs, 9 hits, and we're only halfway through the game. Amazing. And again, all Mariner fans that are watching, we've been waiting, on this version of the Mariners, what we saw yesterday and today against a good team in the Athletics this season. And thankfully, the Athletics are in first place, not last place, because if we play down to the competition, then it could be kind of like that White Sox series, but more likely the Royal series, where you're playing down to them, because the White Sox obviously look like they could be a playoff team this year, and they made a big jump, just like the Athletics have. But the Royals, are still kind of going in the wrong direction, but they seem like they have our number, like we usually have the Astros number, this season and going back to last year. 2-2 pitch. Julio is there, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Nice job there by the no-fly zone and Julio Rodriguez. Nice job, J-Rod. All right, most home runs versus the Mariners since 2024. Shea Langoliers with 9, Rooker with 8, Joe Adell with 7. And we all remember the Joe Adell 3 home run robbery game, and hopefully that'll never happen to us ever again. Langoliers with 13 home runs, and again, a very good player. At catcher this year made a big jump. Obviously, we know Jacob Wilson is on the IL, so he's definitely stepped up in his absence. And again, I do like Drake Baldwin on the Braves as well. Kind of new up-and-coming stud catcher for Atlanta. And again, it's, weird not to be able to mention Cal this year with the injuries and the poor play. But, Cal could still, get to, 20 to 30 home runs before the season is up. He's at 7. We're a third of the way done with the season, but Cal could end up getting a couple games where he gets 2 in a game and, start to get those numbers up. Popped up into foul territory, and Colt Emerson is there on the netting and catches it, and that is out number 3. The no-hitter stays intact. Let's go. Nice job there on defense by Colt Emerson. Let's go to the top of the 5th inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. We're loving it, Rick Riz. 50th anniversary, 40 plus years on the radio. The legend, the icon, the one and only Rick Riz. And we're going to dedicate every stream to this guy right here, Rick Riz, as well as in baseball heaven, Dave Niehaus. And we've been incredibly blessed with amazing play-by-play and, guys not only on TV, but on the radio. There's a lot of teams in the MLB that would just be salivating at someone as good as Dave Niehaus or Rick Riz on the radio. And then even Goldie. I really like what Goldie does, based off his age, being a little bit younger than some of the grandpa play-by-play guys on other teams. I think he does a great job. Let's go to the top of the 5th inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. Next up for the Mariners, 1-for-1 and a hit by pitch. In the 5-hole, DHing Rob Refsnyder. Batting second in the 6-hole, 2-for-2 with a run and an RBI, catcher Mitch Garver. And batting third, 0-for-1 with an RBI, second baseman Cole Clutch Young. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 4-0 Mariners. I love it. Eight subs to go to 24,100. All right, we're at 101 likes. We broke 100. I like that. 99 to 200. First pitch from jump to Refsnyder in there for a strike. 0-1 count. Not exactly what he expected his MLB debut was going to be like, but I'm happy that we're able to take advantage of Gage jump. 0-1 pitch to Refsnyder. Low and away. Good eye there by Rob. 1 ball and 1 strike to Rob Refsnyder. Change up 89 miles an hour, just missing. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 5th inning, 4-0 Mariners. And honestly, this has been the best 2 games back to back. I mean, the game's not over yet, but just the way that it's trending, as long as our bullpen doesn't shit the bed. And obviously, the pitch count is very low for Hancock, so we might have him pitch 8-9 innings today. It's possible he could go for a complete game as long as the pitch count stays low and gets a bunch of these easy outs. But again, I've been waiting a long time, for a couple really nice games back to back against a good team, and we finally have it. Even with no Donnie and no Cal, it feels good, that we're finally, being able to play up to our potential, so to speak. 2-1 pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour. 3 balls and 1 strike to Rob Refsnyder. 3-1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle with the slider by Jump. Count is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to Rob Refsnyder. Yeah, not even in Oaktown anymore, Sacktown, because they're in Sacramento, so... but they could have went with Severino, but the reason that they called him up because they know we struggle with lefties and just assumed that regardless if he's getting his first start that we would just choke. And, a lot of times the Mariners do, against guys that make their MLB debut. We were terrible last year. And, regardless if a lefty's got an ERA, of 2 or 12, or if they're 5-1 or 1-5, for the majority, we are not very good against lefties, but we're very good against Jump here today. No complaints. 3-2 pitch. All right, catcher's challenge here by Shea Langoliers. And the walk turns into strike 3. Down goes Rob Refsnyder. Imagine Refsnyder starting off going 3 for 3. We're like in the Twilight Zone or in the Upside Down in Stranger Things. But that call gets overturned. And down goes Refsnyder. 1 away. Now, let's see if Mitch Garver can go 3 for 3 in the 6th hole. Let's get it, Mitch. First pitch to Garv. Little dribbler towards third base and foul. 0-1 count. Griffey loves it. Let's go. Top of the 5th inning with nobody on and 1 out. 0-1 pitch from Jump to Garver. High and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike from Jump to Garver. One pitch. Big swing and a miss. High and away. One ball and 2 strikes from Jump to Garver. Come on, Garv sauce. 1-2 pitch to Garv. And Garv pops it up a mile. Should be a routine play, you would assume, here for the Athletics. And McNeil is there, the former Met, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Down goes Garver. Down goes Refsnyder. But let's see if we can get a rally going here with 2 outs. In the 7th hole, Cole Clutch Young. On deck is Victor Robles. First pitch from Jump to Young, high and inside, 4-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour, 1-0 count. Top of the 5th inning, 4-0 Seattle. Emerson Hancock with a no-hitter so far, and the offense has exploded for 4 runs and 9 hits already, but we are hungry. We are not done. 1-0 pitch, fouled off. Out of play in left field. 1 ball and 1 strike to Cole Clutch Young. Come on, Cole. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 1-1 pitch. Crushes that one into left field, out of play. 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Gage Jump. Cool name, but the cool name doesn't get you strikeouts, unfortunately. 4-0 Seattle. Jump on the mound. Cole Young in the box. 1-2 pitch from Jump. Big swing and a miss, and another punch out there on Cole Young. I believe that's number 3 for Jump. And let's go to the bottom of the 5th inning and see who's up next here for the A's. Paisley's coming in, saying hello. Lay down. Lay down. Next up, 0 for 1 with a K, DHing Brent Rooker. Batting second, 0 for 1 in the 5-hole, left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. And batting third in the 6-hole, second baseman, formerly of the New York Mets, 0 for 1, Jeff McNeil. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Eight subs away from 24,100. We're at 5 on the dono train, 95 to go. And we're at 106 likes, 94 to 200. All right, Emerson Hancock right now, 4 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, no walks, 2 Ks. He's only had 37 pitches. Wow, 26 strikes, 2.87. He might pitch the whole game. Complete game, no hitter. Let's go. And then with Jump, it's kind of the opposite, right? Making his MLB debut today. They thought they were going to pull a fast one on the Mariners. Not so fast. 5 innings pitched, 9 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk. He does have 5 Ks, so at least he's got that going for him. 88 pitches, 58 strikes with a 7.20 ERA. So I assume that he's done and they won't have him pitch anymore. And then hopefully we'll be able to take advantage, of a righty coming in. And then we can get Luke Raley in the game and Canzone, and maybe they'll be able to homer like they have recently. First pitch from Hancock to Rooker ends up being a ball, 1-0 count. Bottom of the 5th, 4-0 Mariners. Trident's up. First pitch with that sweeper low and away, missing badly. 77 miles an hour. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and inside. Sweeper 75 miles an hour there by Emerson Hancock. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 5th inning, 4-0 Mariners. One pitch in there for a strike. 1-2 pitch with the sweeper, low and away, trying to get Rooker to bite, but he does not. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Hancock to Rooker. It would be sweet if Hancock got a complete game, let alone a complete game no-hitter. And I still would love to get a home run or 2 before this one is over. Pitch fouled off on the 2-2 count there by Rooker. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 5th, 4-0 Seattle. 2-2 pitch and a line drive laser into the netting towards third base and foul. Sweeper 76 miles an hour on that last pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Brent Rooker. I don't know if they'll have him come in today on his first game, getting called back to the team, but I did get a chance to see a little bit of what he was doing in AAA, and he really didn't look that good. He has kind of a tendency of getting an out and then giving up a home run or RBI, and he looked a little shaky, but again, we'll see. Hopefully we get the good Gabe, not the bad, and I don't know if they'll play him today or maybe they'll wait till tomorrow, but they're probably a safe bet that there's a chance that you're going to get, Gabe today or tomorrow. If not both. So, but, even though they usually don't want to play guys in back-to-back games too often. 2-2 pitch. But based on Emerson's pitch count, hell, he might be able to pitch the whole game. Pitches low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Brent Rooker. 3-2 pitch. High and inside, and that is a walk to Brent Rooker. And again, around June 5th, as long as there's no setbacks, Brandon Donovan, Cal Raleigh, Carlos Vargas, another guy in the pen that might be able to help us win, as well as Miles Mastroboni. So we got 4 guys that we're kind of waiting on, the main guys, and obviously Cal and Donnie are the main, but even having Mastroboni, as well as a platoon guy if we're going to go that route, and then having Carlos Vargas, who ultimately was mostly bad last season, but, sometimes a little good. Little line drive, and that's the first hit for the Athletics. Tyler Soderstrom ends the no-hitter here in the 5th. But again, tough to get no-hitters in baseball, but who knows? We might be able to get a complete game. Now we got runners at first and second with no outs, and now we're looking for a strikeout and a double play, or a double play and a strikeout here, starting with Jeff McNeil. Yeah, Hancock, 1 walk and 1 hit so far, which is great, right? Definitely the most improved starter, out of, the squad. First pitch, big, swing and a miss. Slow and at the knees with a cutter, 85 miles an hour there by Hancock, 0-1 count. Trident's up, let's go M's. 0-1 pitch, big, swing and a miss. Cutter, 83 miles an hour, low and away. No balls and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and no outs. And this is the first time that the A's have threatened, but again, we could still end up getting a strikeout, double play strikeout, or something of that nature to prevent anything from happening, hopefully. I would love to keep the A's at 0 for as long as possible, especially if we're not going to get the no-hitter anymore. But, maybe a complete game from Hancock, possibly. Oh-2 pitch. Hard hit ball towards third base and foul. Count still remains no balls and 2 strikes from Hancock to McNeil. It's possible, that Kurtz, obviously he's got the big, on-base streak going. It's getting close to 50 now. He's in second place to Mark McGwire in athletic history, in the high 40s with that number, but we will see. Hopefully for Mariner fans, that doesn't happen, but, you never know. But if you got a parlay for Kurtz, hitting a home run, we'll see if he ends up getting a hit or a home run. 0-2 pitch, high and away, 4-seam fastball, 96 miles an hour there by Hancock. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Jeff McNeil. 1-2 pitch, little blooper. Get that. There we go. Nice catch there by Randy. And actually a somewhat decent throw into the infield there. Runner does tag up from second to third. And now we have runners at first and third with 1 out. And we want to see if Rooker went early or not, but great catch by Randy. Obviously, if Randy doesn't get that, Julio wouldn't have. It would have been a one-hopper, and then eventually in his glove, but great job there by Randy. McNeil lines out to left, Rooker to third, and now we have runners at first and third with 1 out. That sets us up for the double play. Geloff, slow dribbler up the middle to JP, throw to Naylor, not sidearm, regular, and we get out of this inning with a 4-0 lead. First pitch, low and at the knees to Geloff, 1-0 count. Hancock on the mound, Geloff in the box. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike from Hancock to Geloff. Bottom of the 5th, 4-0 Mariners. Runners on the corners at first and third with 1 out. And that sinker was 94 miles an hour down the pipe. 1 ball and 1 strike to Zach Geloff. Give me that slow dribbler up the middle for that double play. 1-1 pitch. Popped up into right field and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Zach Geloff. I mean, I'll take back-to-back strikeouts as well, or a strikeout and a pop-up, strikeout and a ground ball, a little slow dribbler out, but, the fastest way to get out of this inning is getting this double play here. 1-2 pitch. Hard hit ball into left field, fading foul. Sweeper, 75 miles an hour, crushed by Geloff. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners on the corners at first and third with 1 out. Bottom of the 5th, 4-0 Seattle. Trident's up. 1-2 pitch. Popped up and behind the plate, foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Zach Geloff. And even though, the no-hitter is not available anymore, I mean, to keep guys at 0, for as long as possible. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees, almost hits Geloff on the hip, and he ends up getting out of the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Hancock to Geloff. Great performance by Castillo yesterday. A pretty good performance for Miller, even though he ended up giving up the big run late, but still enough for us to win the game. And great job here by Hancock so far. 2-2 pitch popped up, and it's in shallow infield. JP is there, and that is 2 away, and no opportunity for Rooker to score. Good job, JP. And now we have 2 outs, and now we don't need the double play. We just need a strikeout, pop up, ground out, and let's keep that runner Rooker at third. We won 9-2 yesterday, and I would love to win to a similar score today. But if we could keep him at 0, that would be really satisfying. But as long as we win. He's at 61 pitches now. So obviously this inning's gone a lot longer than obviously the first 4. But again, he could still end up going for a few more innings. 1 hit, 1 walk, only 2 Ks, but that's all right. 61 pitches, 43 strikes. ERA is below 3 finally for the year, 2.84. Great job, Emerson Hancock, for a guy that used to be, kind of the backup reserve pitcher filling in for an injury, for like Gilbert or Kirby, has really been the most improved from last year to this year. First pitch to Lawrence Butler is high and away with a 4-seam fastball, 1-0 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 1-0 pitch, low and away. Looks like Hancock's getting a little tired here. They've had quite a few long, grinded out at-bats here, and pitch count has gone up pretty dramatically. Approaching almost 30 pitches in this inning, but we still have the 4-0 lead. Throw to first. And runner is safe. Bottom of the 5th, runners on the corners at first and third with 2 outs. Hancock on the mound, Butler in the box. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 2-0 pitch. Just got a piece, little foul tip. That lands right in front of Garver. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. 2 balls, 1 strike to Lawrence Butler. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. Great performance yesterday. Great performance so far today. 2-1 pitch. Fouled off into left field behind the plate. Out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes with runners on the corners at first and third and 2 outs. Bottom of the 5th inning, 4-0 Seattle. If he was able to have a quick 5th inning, he probably could have went the whole game. Because he was only in high 20s, low 30s, but after this inning, obviously he's already in the 60s. 2-2 pitch. Challenge is called. That is called ball, but I don't know if they're going to get a strike here. Let's see if we get a corner. Just missed. Mariners lose a challenge. Call is confirmed there. 3 balls and 2 strikes with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Come on, Emerson. Get this last out. Strikeout, pop up, ground out. We don't care. 3-2 pitch. Little dribbler towards first base and foul. Bottom of the 5th inning, 4-0 Mariners. After a very impressive Luis Castillo start, piggybacked by Bryce Miller, and the offense with 4 home runs yesterday, winning 9-2. So far, so good. 3-2 pitch, little dribbler right in front of Garver. Throw it to first. High throw, and Naylor with long arms and long legs gets the job done. And again, if that was, anybody else, that might have gone over his head. Great job of getting Hancock out of the jam, and they leave 2 stranded, and that is out number 3. I got the Trident from T-Mobile. If you go to the team store at T-Mobile, they don't usually have very many of them, but that's where I got it from. So And then eventually one day I'll probably invest in, a custom made one. It's not going to be super heavy and authentic like the one that they actually have in the Mariners dugout, but they do have some reproduction ones that are as big as like a broom, that are custom made and painted. And obviously maybe not as heavy as the real deal, but, somewhat close. And eventually one day I hope to get one of those as well. But, for the stream and based off the size, it does the job. I want to make sure that we're representing the Mariners to the fullest. And again, you don't really see too many of them out there in the wild. And again, I'm definitely happy that I was able to get one last season. All right, let's go to the top of the 6th inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. 8 subs away from 24,100. We're at 5 on the Dono train, 95 to go. And we got 254 in the room. Let's see if we can get to 150 to 200 likes before this one is over. We're at 120, 80 to go to get to 200. Next up, 2 for 2 with a run, Victor Robles. Batting second in the 9-hole, Colt Emerson. And batting third, J.P. Crawford. And Suarez is coming in here for the Athletics. Jose Suarez coming in. First pitch from Suarez to Robles, takes a strike looking high and away. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch in there for a ball from Suarez. Low and away, 81 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike to Victor Robles. Let's go, Victor. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees, almost hits him on the leg. Has to kind of adjust his body and contort his body to get out of the way. 2 balls and 1 strike from Suarez, who is another lefty, and Victor Robles in the box. Rebecca with a 5-er. And Robles on a 2-1 pitch hits a nice ball into the gap right in front of Lawrence Butler. And Victor Robles, my man, 3 for 3 day. My guy. Nice job, Victor. Next up is Colt Emerson. Rebecca with a 5-er. We're at 10 now, 90 to go. Appreciate you. Shout out to our female audience like Rebecca, as well as everyone watching in the United States, Canada, Mexico, South America, Asia, and beyond. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Rebecca. First pitch to Emerson popped up. Should be a routine play for Hernandez or Jeff McNeil. Either one was there, and that is 1 away. Down goes Colt. Next up, leadoff hitter, shortstop, J.P. Crawford. On deck, Julio Rodriguez. Reflect with a 3-er. Appreciate you. We're at 13, 87 to go. Robles going for the stolen bag. And he had his foot come off the bag and is out. Damn it. He had it, but then the foot came off. Great jump there by Victor. Probably should have went head first. And then the momentum took him off the bag for just a split second. Hernandez was there, and Robles gets caught stealing. Tough break there after going 3 for 3. Let him know, Vin. 1-0 pitch from Suarez to JP. Low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to JP Crawford. First pitch was high and inside with a 4-seam fastball. 92 miles an hour. Second pitch, slider, 80 miles an hour, low and away. 2-0 pitch from Suarez to JP. Big swing and a miss. Four-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour, right down the middle. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the 6th inning, 4-0 Mariners. Now, if the game was 0-0, that would have been probably a little bit more upsetting by Robles, but again, lost his balance. But again, we've had a great day from Refsnyder, Garver, and Robles. So again, even though it was a mistake, it's one of the few that we've had today. Little slow dribbler, throw to first, no tap on the bag from Kurtz, and JP Crawford grounds out, and that is 3 up and 3 down. Go to the bottom of the 6th inning and see who's up next year for the A's. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. All right, we're at 130 likes, 70 to get to 200. Gabe Spire is back, and hopefully we get the good version of Gabe whenever that is, today or tomorrow. Next up in the 9-hole, 0-for-1 shortstop Daryl Hernandez. Batting second in the leadoff spot, right fielder Carlos Cortez, and batting third in the 2-hole, first baseman Nick Kurtz. Trident's up. Let's go M's. First pitch to Hernandez, little blooper into right field, and that's what I'm talking about. Victor Robles with the athleticism. And again, if that's Luke Raley, he may or may not have made that play. Same thing with Rob Refsnyder. Julio was sprinting to the spot, but again, gives a nice little pat on the back there to Victor. And again, Victor's got good speed. He's a good defender. And again, shows his athleticism there in right field. And again, Julio was sliding, on the ground as Victor ran in front of him and made the play. 1 up and 1 down. Down goes Hernandez. Great job, Victor. Great having him back on the team. First pitch from Hancock to Cortez. Cutter, low and at the knees. 1-0 count. And Hancock's at 69 pitches, so he can still go for a few more innings. 1-0 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Carlos Cortez. Now, if he ends up going for another inning of 25 to 30 pitches, then, this could end up being the last inning. But, hopefully it won't go that long like it did in the previous inning in the 5th. 2-0 pitch, high and away. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Hancock. 3 balls and no strikes to Carlos Cortez. And I got Pizzardo warming up in the pen. But I just like the vibes of Robles. He's like Eugenio Suarez, just positive, smiling, always uplifting the teammates, not negative, doesn't really have an ego like compared to like Randy, even though Randy has been the most consistent hitter, on the team and is, struggling on ground balls. But, other than that, pretty damn good, but again, pretty damn good no fly zone with Randy in left. Julio in center and Robles in right. And hell, even Luke has improved in right field when he gets the chance to go out there. So, Luke used to be a liability in the box and in right field and has really stepped up. The most improved player besides Emerson Hancock, Luke Raley. All right, next up is Nick Kurtz. Yeah. Well, again, before he got hurt, he was in that 280 to 300 range, and if he doesn't get hurt, that would have been our leadoff hitter for the whole year. Much better than having JP or Randy or Julio. Victor was the perfect person to take over JP, and then obviously it probably messed with JP's mentals, going from the leadoff hitter to the 9, but you got to do what you got to do. If you're not getting the job done, at leadoff, we got to be able to, restructure the lineup. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Nick Kurtz. One pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first and 1 out. Bottom of the 6th inning, 4-0 Mariners. 2-1 pitch, low and at the knees. Count now is 3 balls and 1 strike to Nick Kurtz. 3-1 pitch, hits the corner beautifully. Nice strike there. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, runner at first with 1 out. I mean, obviously a slow dribbler up the middle for a double play would be fantastic. We haven't got one yet. Bottom of the 6th, 4-0 Mariners. Try to ends up. Come on, Emerson. 3-2 pitch. And Kurtz pops it up into left field, out of play. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour there by Emerson Hancock. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Bottom of the 6th, 4-0 Seattle. Three-two pitch. That's strike 3 looking, baby. Let's go, baby. Down goes Kurtz. But the guy that you need to worry about more than Kurtz, with his consecutive on-base streak is this guy, the best player on the team, Shea Langoliers. Not only is he the best catcher in baseball this year, 13 home runs, filling in, and Langoliers gets hit in the back. And that was a little crazy there. I don't think that was intentional, but that ball gets away from him. And again, Langoliers is one of those guys, you got to be very careful on how you pitch to him. And now we got runners at first and second with 2 outs. Next up is Brent Rooker. And obviously we have to take advantage, that they don't have Jacob Wilson in the lineup. But again, we don't have Brendan Donovan and Cal Raleigh in ours. So now we're having a mound visit with Woodworth and the squad after that first pitch, ended up hitting Langoliers in the back. So looks like Emerson Hancock, is going to be pretty close to done pretty soon here. They got Jose Ferrer and Edward Bizzardo in the pen. And hopefully we can keep them at 0. Yeah, everything is authentic, from me. I'm never gonna, you know how sometimes on streams, you get people that overreact and it's just so cringeworthy, where people are just making faces, jumping up and down, throwing shit, screaming and acting a fool. Again, there's gonna be certain things that, the emotions will come out, but nothing will ever be forced. It'll all be authentic and, real recognizes real, and again, we've had definitely a tough start to the season. We will have moments where we will celebrate. And Rooker pops up. And on the netting, Naylor makes the play. And that is out number 3. Wow. And let's see if the A's challenge this. Naylor was looking at the ump. Like, are you going to call this out or not? And the A's are challenging. All right, let's see if we'll end up getting this call to go in our favor or not. I thought it hit the netting and then Naylor got it, but I think it hit the screen first. But all right, let's take a look at the replay to see exactly where this ball was at. Let's look at Naylor as well. Ooh, Naylor might have gotten that. I'm not sure if that got the netting. I think Naylor might have just got it. Let's look again. I think Naylor catches that. I think that's out number 3. That looked like just a clean catch there from Naylor. I mean, he's looking at the ump and whatnot, and I don't think the A's are going to get this one. And again, we've had a few calls that have been, pretty close, like in every game, the ABS works, and we want the calls to be correct, whether they go in our favor or not. First base umpire is right there. I think that's out number 3. It didn't hit the netting. His glove might have pushed the netting in, but it didn't hit the netting. It went into his glove, it looked like. See, you don't really see it hit the netting and then bounce into the glove for interference. He pushes the netting in with the glove, and the ball goes right into the glove. It looked like it didn't hit the net, but... This will be interesting on where... if it hits the netting and then goes in the glove, then obviously you continue, right? But if you use your glove to push into the netting and the ball never hits the netting and it goes right in your mitt, right, into the glove. Wow, play overturned. Boo! Yeah, the backhand catch, too. Now, that definitely is one that could have went in our favor, in those, 50-50 plays. Maybe it's a pity call, and they just feel sorry for the A's because they're down 4-0. All right, so first pitch ended up being a foul ball, not an out. I don't know about that, but if a similar play like that happens, against us, I want the same result. 0-1 pitch, high and inside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Brent Rooker. That was a hell of an attempt, too, with the backhand catch. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees. Sweeper missing there by Hancock. 2 balls and 1 strike with runners at first and second and 2 outs. Come on, M. Finish strong. 2-1 pitch. Little dribbler towards first. And just foul. And if that was fair, Naylor wouldn't have been able to flip it to Hancock in time. And that probably would have scored a run. Okay, come on now. 1 strike. Bottom of the 6th inning. 4-0 Mariners. Runners at first and second. This will be the last inning for Emerson Hancock since the pitch count kind of went up in the 5th and the 6th. If he was able to get a few quick outs, he might have been able to pitch a complete game, but the A's ended that opportunity after getting his pitch count up in the 5th and now in the 6th. 2-2 pitch. Little dribbler up the middle. Get it, JP. Flip. Yes. Yes. There we go. Nice flip to Cole Young, and we leave those 2 runners stranded, baby. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. Even though it should have been out number 3 with Josh Naylor, again, the rule is if it hits the net and then goes into your glove, obviously that's a foul ball. But if you push the netting in, right, and the ball goes into your mitt and it doesn't touch the net, I thought, based off the rules, that's an out. But apparently, it was either a pity call or they just wanted to see the A's, go at it again or whatnot. But we'll see if that play happens again in the future for us or against us. End of the 6th inning, 4-0 Mariners. Hell yeah. Next up for the Mariners in the top of the 7th, let's pour it on. Let's see if we can get to 5 or beyond. 1 for 3 with an RBI, Julio Rodriguez. Batting second, 1 for 3 with a K, left fielder Randy Arosarena. And batting third, 1 for 3 with a run, first baseman, it's Nails, Josh Naylor. Right ends up, let's go M's. Eight subs to go to 24,100. And let's see where we're at, how close we are to 150 or 200 on the likes. We're at 139. 61 to 200. And we're at 13 on the dono train, 87 to go. First pitch to Julio, and he pops it up. Goes into foul territory. Langoliers is there, and that is one away. Quick out there for Julio Rodriguez, one up and one down. Next up for Jose Suarez is Randy Arozarena. Yes, sir. Great job by Castillo. Great job by Hancock. A decent job by Miller, even though he gave up a run or two at the end of the game yesterday. But all in all, it's been a great, 2 games so far. And if we end up winning this, then we're going to have a chance to get the brooms out in the sweep with Logan Gilbert going against a righty, Severino. And then we can have Rayleigh and Hanzone in the lineup. And, if we can pull this out, well, we'll have a really good chance on winning tomorrow, as long as Logan pitches decent and the bats come alive and the defense doesn't shit the bed. 1-0 pitch. In there for a strike, high and away, four-seam fastball, 91 miles an hour by Jose Suarez. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 7th inning, 4-0 Mariners. Still would love us to get to 5, 6, or 7 before this one is over, if possible. 1-1 pitch, fouled off towards third base and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. One-two pitch. Big swing and a miss. Shouldn't have swung at that. That was high and away. And down goes Randy chasing, which is not something he does all the time. And he's been our most consistent hitter from the beginning of the season. He was just on the cusp of 300, and now being 1 for 4. He's .001. He's at 299. So I'm hoping he'll get one more at bat and he can get above 300. But if he doesn't do it today, I think he'll do it tomorrow. Next up is Josh Naylor. First pitch, takes a strike looking with a slider right down the middle, 78 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Oh-1 pitch in there for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes from Suarez to Naylor. And a little blooper there by Josh Naylor. Nice job. Nice job there by Naylor. And Suarez maybe hitting Ref Snyder. I mean, the first time Ref Snyder, they hit the barrel of the bat. And now they say that one hits him again, maybe on the jersey. George Santos. We've never had a George Santos. We used to have a Gregory Santos dude, but he's not on the team anymore. He's in the Giant organization for San Francisco, whether he ends up being in the farm, and moving up and down in AAA or there. But we don't have Santos on the team anymore. What's good? How are you? So now we got runners at first and second, even though I'm not really sure if Ref Snyder even got hit 2 times today, but I guess we'll take that, even though we didn't get the nailer, a foul ball on the netting. Next up, 2 for 3 with a run and an RBI, Mitch Garver. So now we have runners at first and second with 2 outs. And I assume they're going to make another pitching change and go from Jump to Suarez, whoever they decide to bring in here next. Libra in the building. What's good? All right, Sterner is coming in. All right, Justin Sterner is coming in. All right, we got a righty on the mound here, Justin Sterner coming in, so hopefully we'll be able to rock him a little bit. Next up is Mitch Garver with Naylor at second and Ref Snyder at first. And a very productive game for Ref Snyder, Garver, and Robles. Normally those are liabilities in the lineup, but they played great today. And a little slow dribbler towards third base, toe tap on the bag, and that is out number 3 by Geloff. And so they end up stranding 2 more Mariner runners, but we are dominating this team so far. But again, we will see what we do with the bullpen, and hopefully the bullpen doesn't shit the bed, and we can end up getting a nice victory here. And Hancock's at 87 pitches, so we assume that it'll not be him coming back out. Next up for the A's, 1 for 2 in the 5-hole, left fielder Tyler Soderstrom. Batting second, 0 for 2 in the 6-hole, the former Met, second baseman Jeff McNeil. And batting third in the 7-hole, third baseman 0 for 2, Zach Geloff. They had Ferrer and Bizzardo warming up, so you have to assume it's one of those two. Go to the bottom of the 7th inning, 4-0 Mariners. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Yeah, that might be the only benefit, of the piggyback, that it does give some of those guys a little bit of a rest, and Ferrer is coming in. So Hancock is done, and he was very impressive today. Now we get Jose Ferrer, and hopefully we get the good Jose, not the bad, and we can mow him down here. But yeah, that might be the only benefit. Obviously Bryce starting is more ideal, but again, Castillo did pitch well, and we started the first piggyback with Miller starting and obviously Castillo coming out of the bullpen, and we lost that game. But then Castillo started yesterday and had his best start of the year and had a little bit of a meltdown, in the bullpen with Dan Wilson after he got pulled, in his best start. But, you would assume you would have your best start before, you get to the point where you're already at, 54, 55 games in out of a 162 game season. But, nice to see Luis finally put it together. But it definitely gave the bullpen a little bit of rest. And we just got Gabe Spire back this morning. 1-1 pitch, popped up by Soderstrom. Should be a routine play there for Randy or Julio. And Julio is there. And that is 1 up and 1 down. Nice job there by Julio Rodriguez. Good job so far here from Jose Ferrer. Now Thomas is pinch hitting for McNeil. All right, Colby Thomas is coming in. First pitch takes a strike looking from Ferrer. And that is an 0-1 count. Colby Thomas hitting for McNeil. 0-1 pitch. And a little dribbler towards first base and foul. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Bottom of the 7th inning, 4-0 Mariners in the 7th inning. And again, we ended up winning yesterday 9-2, and a couple more innings away. It'll be 2, and hopefully we'll be able to get the sweep tomorrow if we can win this today. 0-2 pitch, popped up and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. And then again, down the road when we, call up Cade Anderson, initially he'll be in the pen, but they want him to be a starter. Like when they brought Brian Wu up and moved him to the 5, that's what they want with Cade. But we have, almost too many pitchers right now. But again, Castillo may not be on the team next year with JP. So that'll open the door up for one more, pitcher. And again, we still got Ryan Sloan in the farm as well, but Cade will get called up before Sloan. And I can't wait for Cade to get the call up. Anytime you can add lefties to the squad, to supplement Gabe Spire and Jose Ferrer is exciting. Little dribbler or a little fly ball, line drive to Cole Young, and that is 2 away. Nice job there by Cole with the defense. And great job there by Emerson Hancock. 6 innings pitch, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, no earned runs, 88 pitches, and 13 for 22 on first pitch strikes. Fantastic. And if you go back to last year and the year before, Hancock was like Castillo, a fucking liability. We know Logan Evans was great at home, but terrible on the road. And then he ended up having a season-ending injury in spring training. So we're not going to ever see Logan Evans this season. But, great job by Emerson Hancock finally, figuring it out. 1-0 pitch, low and away, sinker 96 miles an hour. 2 balls and no strikes to Zach Geloff. Appreciate you, Power. 2-0 pitch, little slow dribbler, JP, and no throw there. And if JP would have thrown that ball, probably would have turned it into a double off an error or a bad throw. Probably would have went 10 feet over Naylor's head. So good decision there by JP not to, throw just a terrible throw to Naylor. I mean, he makes terrible throws when it's, a routine play. So first pitch from Ferrer to Butler. Low and away, 1-0 count. Dave in the building, what's good? Congratulations on your combined no-hitter against the Rangers yesterday. Considering how bad the pitching has been, starters and bullpen for Houston, that was surprising. And what a play! How about that? Cole Young, wow. That play right there was insane. And again, that could have ended up being something insane, and Naylor jumped for it. Young was in position and got the throw, and Naylor got the toe tap on the bag just in time. I love this team.
I love it. I love the defense. I mean, really the only liability on defense right now is JP, and everyone else is just spectacular. Great job. End of the 7th inning, 4-0 Mariners. What a play by Cole Young. And again, in a few years, Cole and Colt, may end up being the best duo at second and shortstop defensively. And then who knows if they can get their batting average up, to 300 or close to 300, they may end up being one of the best duos in baseball, down the road at second and short. Go to the top of the 8th inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. Next up, 0 for 2 with an RBI and a K. Second baseman, Cole Clutch Young. And remember, a lot of times when you end up being one of the first 3 batters up after making a great defensive play, sometimes magic tends to happen. Let's see if it happens here for Cole. He ends up leading off after making that great out. Batting second, 3 for 3. I love seeing this, because again, Victor Robles has missed a good chunk of the season. You didn't really know, what he was going to look like offensively or defensively, but he's starting to find his groove. And today, 3 for 3 with a run. Great job, Victor. Good vibes only, and good defense in right field. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and a K. Let's see if we can get Colt Emerson's first hit of the game. Trident's up. Let's go Ems. What an exciting team. And we don't have Cal, we don't have, Brendan Donovan, we don't have Mastroboni or Carlos Vargas, but hopefully by June 5th, we'll have all 4 of those guys back, and that will really help us out. Four runs, 11 hits for the Mariners, and the best part, no errors. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. First pitch, Young pops it up, and that will be a routine play in right field. And that is 1 away. Down goes Cole Young on the pop-up, and hitting for Victor Robles, even though he's 3 for 3. Here comes Luke Raley. First pitch to Luke Raley, takes a strike looking. High and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle into right field. A lot of kids, hovering for a souvenir. No balls and 2 strikes from Sterner to Raley. And it might be like the one time where we might have actually wanted Victor to keep playing. 3 for 3. Maybe he could have went 4 for 4 like Colt Emerson did a couple days ago. But again, I do enjoy watching Luke Raley play. And I would have rather had Luke Raley come in for Ref Snyder at DH, but 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. Down goes Raley, and that is 2 away. And again, we're always going to be griping, about Raley needs to play every day, no matter what, lefty or righty pitching. Same thing with Canzone, but mostly Raley. But I think right there, I would have rather had Victor Robles hit and then just wait for Ref Snyder and swap Raley for him. But, it is what it is. Next up is Colt Emerson. First pitch from Sterner to Emerson, pops it up and out of play. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Jack in the building, how are you? 0-1 pitch. And Colt with a line drive in his center. Lawrence Butler is there, and that is 3 up and 3 down. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 8th. See who's up next here for the A's. Next up for the Athletics, 0 for 2 with a base on ball, right fielder Carlos Cortez. Batting second, 0 for 3 with 2 Ks, first baseman Nick Kurtz. And this is his last opportunity to keep his on-base streak going. Hopefully we can end that streak. And batting third, 0 for 2, catcher Shea Langoliers. Trident's up. Let's go, Ems. 9 subs to go to 24,100. And we're at 146 at the likes, 54 more. To 200. Shout out to Parker, Reflect, Rebecca, and Reflect so far on the Dono train. Yeah, I mean, and again, it's like Robles has just got a chance to come back to the team, and again, it's these like little, subtle, adjustments. Obviously they are putting in, Luke for Robles because he's going to be in right field, but there was another option. You could have subbed him out for Rev Snyder and, waited and seen if maybe Robles went 4 for 4. I mean, how often do guys go 3 for 3 or even 4 for 4? It's not often. I think I would have rather, that might have been the first time all season, I would have rather seen Robles try to get his 4th hit rather than Luke coming in. And that might be one of the only times I ever say that, but, I know some of y'all think similar, that, let the guy go. And now Gabe Spire enters in from the first time since his injury. And let's hope that we get the good Gabe, not the bad. 12 strikeouts, 5 walks, 4 earned runs, 15 games with 12.1 innings pitched. Next up is Daryl Hernandez. First pitch to Hernandez, pops up and out of play. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Shout out to my boy Brooks Beats with the best beats on YouTube. Bash with a 5er, appreciate you. Tridents up, let's go M's. 0-1 pitch, popped up behind the plate and foul. 4-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour. No balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 8th, 4-0 Seattle. Tridents up, let's go M's. But I love seeing Victor Robles, have a good game like that. That should give us more confidence, for him DHing or playing in right field. Since we kind of have a log jam of quite a few guys that can DH or play right field. Little slow dribbler up the middle. Young is there. Throw to Naylor. And that is 1 up and 1 down. Because right now we got Luke Raley that can play right field or DH. Right. You also have Dominic Canzone that can play right field or DH. You have Rob Refsnyder that can play right field or DH. And Victor Robles that can play right field or DH. And you had another, but we sent him down to AAA, Connor Joe. So, we would have had 5, but now we have 4. So now Bolte is coming in to pinch hit. First pitch to Bolte, sinker 95 miles an hour, low and at the knees, 1-0 count. Gabe Spire in his first game back from the injury got called up this morning, and Henry Bolte in the box. 1-0 pitch, and that almost hits him, or does it? And it looks like it does. Spire with a wild pitch ends up hitting Bolte on the foot, and that's the bad Gabe. And again, it seems like he always gets 1 out, right? Strikeout, pop up, ground out, and then he fucks up and does something stupid. RBI, home run, hit somebody, and it seems like the trend is continuing. And he didn't look that great in AAA before he got the call up. He was still kind of wild. So, let's hope that he'll be able to recover and maybe one day before the season is over be the, top 3 guy in the pen with Brash and Bizzardo, but I don't think so. I think that at the very highest, he'll probably be 4th. But, I mean, even Jose Ferrer is more reliable than Spire now. So, 48 single-season on-base streaks, age 23 or younger. Ted Williams, Stan Musial, Greg Gross, Joe DiMaggio, Albert Pujols, Nick Kurtz, and then Alvin Davis. Mariners. 1-0 pitch, gets the corner in there for a strike. Nice 4-seam fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike from Spire to Kurtz. Come on, Gabe. He used to be a top 3 guy in the pen with Brash and Bizzardo, but he's been, sometimes, like the stuff that you see on paper makes you think that they're better than they really are. But for us that are watching the games, every pitch, every inning, every game, sometimes the stats can be a little misleading, Like just because it looks good on paper doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be good in the games. And as we've seen Gabe this year, pretty untrustworthy. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and Nick Kurt's streak is over. There we go. Nice job there by Gabe. A fantastic streak, by Nick Kurtz. Anyone that can end up getting on base close to 50 times, in a row is amazing. But you knew at some point it was going to end, and Gabe Spire is that man. Nice job, Gabe. That's the good Gabe. And now, next up, 0 for 2, catcher Shea Langoliers, and I better not see you give up a home run to Langoliers because that would be the bad Gabe, as we know. And Langoliers has been the best player on the team this year. 13 home runs, more than likely will be the starting catcher for the American League in the All-Star game, and Shea has been amazing, just like Drake Baldwin on the Braves as catcher in the National League. 300 average, 13 home runs. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Shea Langoliers. All right, we're at 150. Great job all day. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees. And stolen bag moments ago from first to second, and he is safe. Bolte to second on the fielder's indifference. 2-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. That's a four-seam fastball that we all love and are used to knowing from Gabe Spire. Nice job. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Shea Langoliers. See if we can get 50 more likes before the broadcast is over, since we're at 279 in the room. And I'm only, using about a fraction of what he has available, but I try to choose the ones that I think fit best for sports streams. 2-2 pitch, line drive to Randy. He's right there, and that is 3 up and 3 down. Great job by the defense. Good job, Gabe Spire. You didn't give up a home run or an RBI in your first start back, and that is something that we can all appreciate. And you ended Nick Kurtz's streak. Great job, Gabe. Let's go to the top of the 9th inning and see if we can get to 5. The magic number for the Mariners is usually 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. We had 3 runs in the second and 1 run in the 4th, but we've been blanked for the last 4 innings. But it could be worse. You could be the A's. They've been blanked since the beginning of the game, right? They are at 2 hits total. So we're at 4 runs, 11 hits. We won 9-2 yesterday, and nothing would make me happier than us winning 5-0, 6-0 if we can. But if we end up winning 4-0, we'll take that as well. Try dance up. Let's go M's. Next up, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a K. Shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting second, 1 for 4 with an RBI, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. And batting third, 1 for 4 with 2 Ks, left fielder, Randy Arozarena. If Randy gets a hit at this at-bat, that will propel him above 300. Let's go, Randy. All right, we're at 157 likes. We only need 43 more to get to 200. We got almost 300 people in the room. Do your boy a solid if you can. It would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, but I think Brooks has made, 132 beats in the last maybe 5 or 6 months. And we use, let me see how many I have in the bucket here. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I have 27 available, and we usually use about 10 or less in the streams, because some of them are a little bit slower, beats that kind of are in between inning kind of beats. And then some of them are going to be during the game beats and whatnot. So I kind of separate them that way, but definitely very proud of him. And it definitely gives us a little bit, more juice, while we're watching these games as well. And it's always great to be able to support your friends that also have dreams as well. 2-0 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 9th inning, 4-0 Mariners. Spire was great. Didn't give up an RBI or a home run and ended Nick Kurtz's on-base streak. So everything was great for Gabe. I mean, he ended up hitting a, volte on the foot. So he ended up not being like 100% clean, which is, what we kind of expect from Gabe, the good Gabe and the bad Gabe. But at least he didn't fuck up and give up a home run or a ribby. 2-2 pitch, and that is strike 3 looking on the corner. And that is 1 away. Down goes JP. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. On deck is Randy Arozarena. And they got Harris on the mound. First pitch from Harris to Julio, low and at the knees for a strike. That looked like a ball to me. Julio is challenging and should win this, and he does. I was going to say, that ump calling that a strike, I was like, wow, the strike zone's that big? All right, we got Hogan Harris on the mound coming in here, a lefty, and Julio in the box. Let's go, J-Rod. See if we get an unexpected solo dinger at the end of the game. We have 0 home runs today after getting 4 yesterday, but it's kind of cool to see us win this way as well. Obviously everything went right with Castillo and Miller and the hitting and the 4 home runs. And today we won in a completely different way, and again, we might be able to do something that we didn't do yesterday, get a shutout. And then we got Logan Gilbert on the mound versus Severino tomorrow, a righty. So we will have Logan Gilbert on the mound and also Luke Graley and Canzone in the box. Popped up, and that is 2 up and 2 down. Down goes Julio. And next up is Randy Arozarena, who's batting .299. If he can get a hit and go 2 for 5, that'll be the first player above 300 besides Victor Robles right now, who's batting .316 after going 3 for 3 today. A little Austin .316 for Victor Robles, and that number could have been higher if they didn't bring in Luke Raley. First pitch from Hogan Harris to Randy Arozarena. Takes a strike looking. High and inside. 0-1 count. Come on, Randy. 0-1 pitch. And it looks like Randy's going to pop it up and should be a routine play here for the A's. And that is out number 3 by Daryl Hernandez. All right, last chance for the Athletics. And I'm curious to see who they're going to bring in. Is it going to be Mooney or is it going to be someone else? Next up for the Athletics in the bottom of the 9th, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and a K, DHing Brent Rooker. Batting second in the 5-hole, left fielder, 1 for 3, Tyler Soderstrom. And batting third, filling in for Jeff McNeil, will be Williams. Let me see if I have the photo of A. Williams. Well, I put in A. Williams and nothing comes up on there. Let's see if I actually have him in the file already. Who is A. Williams? Who are you? And Mooney is coming in. They have Austin Wins, but who is A. Williams? They have Alex Wood, or they did. So we'll find out, maybe somebody new. All right. And we got Mooney coming in. All right, bottom of the 9th, we have a 4-0 lead. Let's just hope and pray that Mooney doesn't give up 1 or 2 runs and can be clean here and we can win 4-0. I mean, obviously, best case scenario, he strikes out the side, but, I'll take this 3 outs. He doesn't have a YouTube channel, but I told him years ago he should have. He has stuff on Spotify and the Untitled app, and he has his stuff on SoundCloud and at other places as well, but no YouTube. I told him years ago when I did mine, but he wasn't really fully committed to it. It's like, you have to believe in yourself, and again, out of all my friends that I've worked with, in sales, on the phone, he was the most talented one, I thought, outside of sales that, that could actually do something full time other than, on the phones or, whatever work that he ends up doing, so obviously he's been, a really good friend. And again, it's just great to be able to see, his progression and whatnot. And, I probably get more views, for his music here than he does on his own, but that's what friends do, right? You try to help each other out. And obviously my platform is a little bit bigger than his, but I've been doing this for 14 years. This is my 10th year on YouTube. And yeah, he's been, doing beats for about the same amount of time, maybe 14, 15 years or longer, but, hasn't put himself on a platform, to be able to get fully noticed, even though he's been on SoundCloud and the Untitled app recently and on Spotify. But, it's hard to break through, if you're a rapper or a beat maker, or a singer. It's not easy, as everyone knows. And if you're from Oregon, like both of us are, it's hard to kind of put your name on the map if you're from the Pacific Northwest. But, even though we, have a few people that have been able to break through from Oregon and Washington. Mooney gets the first out with the pop-up. That is 1 away. Next up is Tyler Soderstrom. Little dribbler towards first base and foul. 0-1 count. I mean, I get access to the Untitled app, which is all his like behind the scenes stuff, that he maybe doesn't have on some of the other stuff. But again, SoundCloud, the Untitled app on top of, Spotify, and again, if he was on it, it would have, I told him back in the day, he should have started a YouTube channel and kind of showed people like how you make your beats, and whatnot. And he didn't listen at that time, but now, he does stuff on Instagram and, little shorts and different things, to kind of show the process. And he actually has, more computers and more equipment than he did back then. Hell, me and him used to make beats on his phone using Fruit Loops, the app, and we would, be drinking and partying and, we'd just be tapping on his phone and like making actually like really good beats, even for what we had, limited resources. And now he's got a full setup like myself. So 2-2 pitch from Soderstrom, hard hit ball. And that is gone. And Tyler Soderstrom with a solo dinger on Mooney. And again, you have the good Mooney and the bad Mooney. And we were hoping that we had the good Mooney, but unfortunately, we're not going to get the shutout. And now it's 4-1 Seattle. Come on, Mooney. Oh, Arcade was great. Over 800 games, played WrestleFest, Superstars, a bunch of racing games, shooters, you name it. We played it. Fantastic time. Ended up getting some pad thai after, which both of us haven't had in over a year, and at a restaurant nearby. And after we had the pad thai, we ended up going back to the arcade and trying to beat a couple other games. So definitely was a great time for sure. And we'll definitely be back. First pitch from Mooney to Williams. Takes a strike looking with the sinker, 98 miles an hour, 0-1 count. Yeah, like I said, I would put Matt Brash as closer. If it's me and I'm managing this team, have Mooney pitch in the 8th, until, he can prove that he can get it done. Same thing with like Castillo. You don't deserve to start anymore. You've been inconsistent, and if we keep, Castillo as a starter and Mooney as the closer, that could be the difference between us, getting, the top spot or the wild card or not at all. Williams strikes out swinging, and that is 2 away. Especially when we have options that are better. Bryce is better, than obviously Castillo, and Brash is more trustworthy, than Mooney, and obviously we don't have too many guys that we can trust in the pen, but, moving Brash to the pen would be the smart move moving forward, even though he just came back from an injury. To me, he's more trustworthy, the most trustworthy guy. And you got to think he hasn't given up a run like Mason Miller, and I don't know where Mason Miller is at right now, but before Brash got hurt, those were the only two, bullpen guys that didn't give up a run, and we know Brash, Bizzardo, and Spire are, usually pretty good, as well as Mooney, but obviously some of these guys have dropped off quite a bit. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike to Zach Geloff. They have the amazing pinball selection there. 1-1 pitch, a little slow dribbler towards third. Throw to first by Emerson off the hopper, and Naylor can't control it. Damn. And the runner is safe. Tough play there by Emerson to Naylor. Normally, Naylor will make that play, but again, kind of a tough play there. Emerson on the run with the backhand, and then a little bit off with the throw, but we've definitely seen Naylor scoop in, tag the bag and make that out before. And Geloff reaches on an infield single to third base. Well, I was born in like the Hood River, Dalles area and lived there for like my first 5 years of my life. And then I lived in the Aloha Beaverton area for a good chunk of my upbringing, and then ended up moving to Canby to live with my dad to kind of finish off high school. And then, I've lived in the Canby, Wilsonville area back in the day. And, most of the roots, are obviously here in Oregon. And, that's pretty much the story of my life. I haven't lived anywhere else besides here in the Pacific Northwest. So. First pitch from Mooney to Butler, takes a strike looking, 0-1 count with that slider. Yeah, and Ferrer has been a closer, for half of the season last year for the Nationals. So that could be another option. We could have Brash be the closer, and then if not Brash, you could have Ferrer. But I don't think I really trust Mooney, And again, imagine if the game was, 1-1, or 1-0, and then he feels like he gives up a run or more every fucking time, or pretty damn close. Like for every time he ends up finishing a game, it seems like he fucks up 4, 5, 6 times again before he does good again, and that's not good enough to keep him as closer like Castillo. As a starter, 1-2 pitch, high and away. It's a combination of the grip on the slider and his mental. It's just him and Castillo have had the biggest drop-offs of any two players on the team, and Mooney used to be top 5, top 10, now is like bottom 10, and Castillo never was top 10, but usually had a 500 record with an ERA in the 3s or the 4s, and both guys have ERAs above 6, and that's not good. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Mooney to Butler. And thankfully in this game, we have a 4-1 lead, but normally we don't. Normally it's like, the score is tied. Little slow dribbler, toe tap on the bag, and that is out number 3. Let's go. But again, Mooney giving up the run, it's like you kind of killed the momentum for us. We wanted to end up winning 4-0. And again, another opportunity for you to come out clean in a game with no pressure, with a 4-run lead, and you still fuck up and give up a home run. But with that being said, final score, Mariners 4, Athletics 1. And when the Mariners win, you know what we do. We fucking dance, baby. Mariners win, Mariners win, Mariners win. Fuck yeah. But again, it could have been better without Mooney fucking it up there. And I know he definitely is disappointed by giving up the home run. But again, this is, something that, us fans can see, but what about Dan Wilson? Are you, like I said, the way that Dan manages the game, he just throws guys out there and then hopes it works out, instead of actually making adjustments, which is not ideal. But let's go over the stats. And at least we ended up winning the game. Hancock gets the win, improves to 4-2. I like that. And Jump obviously gets his first loss in his MLB debut. But great job there by Emerson Hancock. All right, let's go over the stats. All right, Carlos Cortez 0-2. Nick Kurtz going 0-4 and his on-base streak ends. Shea Langoliers 0-3, which is rare. Brent Rooker 0-3. Tyler Soderstrom, 2 for 4 with a RBI and a home run there on Mooney at the end of the game. We should have won 4-0, but that's Mooney for you. Jeff McNeil, 0 for 2. Zach Geloff, 2 for 4. Lawrence Butler, 0 for 4. And Daryl Hernandez, 0 for 3. And then let's go with the Mariners. JP Crawford, 1 for 4 with an RBI. Nice job, JP. Julio Rodriguez, 1 for 5 with an RBI. Nice job, Julio. Randy Arozarena, 1 for 5. His batting average now is 297, but it will be up above 300 tomorrow. Josh Naylor, good game, 2 for 4 with a run. Rob Refsnyder, 1 for 2 with a run, had a good game. And he ended up getting hit by 2 pitches, so he was pretty effective today. Mitch Garver, great game, 2 for 4 with a run and an RBI. Nice job, Mitch. Cole Young, 0 for 3, but did have an RBI. And the star of the game, Victor Robles, 3 for 3 with a run. Should have let Victor try to get that last 4 for 4 opportunity, but they brought in Luke Rayleigh, and he struck out, as we saw earlier. And then Colt Emerson, 0 for 3. And then the final line for Emerson Hancock, 6 innings pitched, 1 hit, 2 walks, 3 Ks, 87 pitches, 56 strikes, 2.78 ERA. And then Jose Ferrer came in, only gave up 1 hit. Gabe Spire ended up doing good in his first start, besides hitting Bolte on the foot, and then got 1K. And then Mooney, who's supposed to be our strongest guy in the pen, besides Brash, ends up fucking up again, giving up 2 hits and a home run. But we ended up winning the game. So, we'll see what happens in the future, but at least we ended up getting the win, and that feels good. Final score, Seattle Mariners 4, Athletics 1. Velasco in the building, what's good? And then we have an early game tomorrow around noon Pacific, and we'll have Logan Gilbert going to get Severino tomorrow. Yes, 3-game series. 1 more game, and then we got Thursday off, and then we come back home to Seattle, to T-Mobile, and start a set against the Diamondbacks, and then at home also against the Mets. And hopefully we can beat up not only Athletics here and get the sweep tomorrow, but hopefully we can end up winning 2 out of 3 or getting a sweep on one of those 2 teams as well. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. I am not familiar with Eastville. My dad was a teacher at Canby High School for like 30, 40 years, so my dad is pretty well known in Canby and whatnot. So, but he's been retired, obviously, now for quite some time. Shout out to Parker. Shout out to Reflect. Shout out to Rebecca. Reflect again, as well as Bash. Appreciate you guys very, very much. And definitely looking forward to the game tomorrow. Set your timeline and calendars accordingly. Tomorrow's game is going to be early, I believe around 12 or 12:10 Pacific time. And hopefully we'll be able to get the dub with Logan Gilbert on the mound going against Severino, the righty, who was supposed to pitch today, but they decided to call up Gage Jump, but it didn't work out. They didn't get the jump off on us. So final score, Mariners 4, Athletics 1. And I got one question for you. Go talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Trident's up and go Mariners.